Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to our weekly Sunday sunset chat. I'm going to take you through the work week weather. We've starting Monday and Tuesday with near record, if not record breaking heat. So be prepared for that. It is going to be a little bit humid on top of the heat. Then we have some storms associated with a cold front Tuesday, Wednesday that slowly enables us to clear out the heat, the record challenging heat, and we kind of go closer, a little bit closer to normal for the warmth to kind of end the week into the weekend. We might cool down with some more greater rain chances and clouds into this weekend. I'm Cameron Walker. Thanks for joining on our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. MP Try, thanks for joining. Rox, Fakit, and Maria on Facebook. Really appreciate seeing all of you. So as you can see from the temperature animation below, we do start in some of the white colors with the red. So low 90s even possible tomorrow. That would tie or break records. And then Tuesday, we could still see 90 degrees, but it's not quite a high confidence number of storms we might see. Do we see a few intense storms mixing in with the kind of everyday thunderstorms? So far, it doesn't look like a widespread thunderstorm day. And some of those could even pop again on Wednesday. So we'll just keep a slight eye on things to make sure, there aren't going to be more than a couple intense storms if we do see storms develop, which is a decent bet for Tuesday and a Wednesday. Charlene, so far, not seeing much in the way right now of below freezing evenings for the time being, for the foreseeable future. Peter, thanks for tuning in on X. And Kyle and Lisa on Instagram. And Brian, good seeing you as well. All right, let's go forward into the dew point scale. Just to let you know, we do approach kind of unpleasant zone. 60 to 65 degree dew points are possible this week. So little slim heat index values when you combine air temperature with the humidity, 1, 2, 3 degrees hotter feeling to our bodies because sweat will have kind of a slight hard time evaporating from our skin at points this week. So our first kind of the season, we could see some, very small heat index values that will add to the heat that you're reading on the air temperature, the thermometer temperature as well. So just keep that in mind. We are really going to be feeling it the next couple of days. Clouds below, animation of the precipitation above for this week. Rain chances overall pretty light, and I don't want to say that for gardeners and farmers hoping for some rain. There could be locally heavier amounts in some of the thunderstorm chances that we have a decent chance of seeing Tuesday into Wednesday, and more sun than not this week. So please consider wearing that sunscreen as often as you can. Even with this thunderstorm threat Tuesday and Wednesday, we still could see a good amount of UV ultraviolet rays this week as well. All right. Hello, Rick. Spring is not over for the long term, but it is a warm, record challenging start to our week, Rick. So, yes, a little bit of humidity and a little bit of rain this week as well. But I do think we'll feel a little more spring like come this weekend. So, do hang in there. By the time you talk to me next Sunday for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat, I think we'll be feeling a little bit closer to average for this time of year, a little bit more seasonable warmth with maybe a little bit of cloud cover and some showers and maybe a couple storms this weekend as well. All right, Liz, let's jump to tree pollen because that's a great question. We are, and Rick, you're most welcome, no problem. So, allergy sufferers, I'm with you, but even though trees are high right now, and yes, the fun mix that I wrote about in yesterday's PM update, that we do have kind of a little bit of grass pollen mixing in with our tree pollen. But let me fast forward to the good news, right? For tree pollen sufferers like myself, we are finally seeing signs of being past peak. The highest readings should be in the rearview mirror for our peak pollen for tree pollen this season. Good chance that we are going to keep that in the rearview mirror, but still elevated. And the warmth and some of the humidity and rain chances this week ahead of this cold front middle part of this week are not going to be great recipe for flushing out much of the pollen. So just be prepared for kind of at the same time, concomitant with the heat and humidity early this week, we are going to see some allergies probably stay around for especially the tree pollen sufferers like myself for Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully we can get some of those storms and kind of flushing out the atmosphere a little bit Tuesday and Wednesday. But hang in there, allergy sufferers. We should be past the peak, but we still see some problems in the near term. All right, I want to show you this couple sources 5 to 15% chance that a few of the potential storms that should pop, we think, Tuesday and Wednesday as a cold front approaches, we could see a couple storms with some hail, a couple storms with some high wind gusts. So we'll keep you posted as we get closer to Tuesday. It's been a persistent but small signal, luckily small signal, for this upcoming Tuesday and frontal passage into Wednesday as well. Seasonal outlook. We don't have our official Capital Weather Gang summer outlook out yet, but I know we had questions last week. So right now, summer is looking temperature wise leaning above average and precipitation wise leaning above average as well. Just want to give you a preview of that, and we'll keep you posted closer to Labor Day. Excuse me, Memorial Day is when we typically release our Capital Weather Gang summer outlook. And keep in mind, seasonal forecasts are fairly low confidence, but we like to gather a bunch of data so that at least our skill can be better than climatology for you. All right, Liz, you're most welcome, and Deb, I'm glad you had a slight respite from your allergies recently. We had a little bit of a rinse out here and there recently, but I think the heat building is going to allow the pollen and the trees to build and really enjoy that heat and capitalize on it, unfortunately, for us fellow allergy sufferers. All right, we've got Joan and Back and Victoria and AC. Thanks for tuning in on Instagram. All right, let me show you the temperatures below, peaking hopefully tomorrow, low 90s for some of the region. Still could see 90 degrees again on Tuesday. Cold front slowly approaching Tuesday and Wednesday. Could set off some storms, a few of which of these storms could be intense. So we'll keep you posted. Not a widespread or high signal to cause you anxiety about severe weather for Tuesday, Wednesday, but one or two could have hail, one or two could have some strong wind gusts. So we will watch that for you as this cold front kind of moves into our hot and kind of humid for this time of year air. Dew points 60 to 65 this week are going into the warm and humid season. We're not used to it, we're not acclimated to it. So it will feel unpleasant at times with the dew point 60 to 65 degrees until we can kind of get this cold front through here later on Wednesday. I'm hoping we can get a little drier air late Wednesday, maybe early Thursday, but timing, exact timing to be determined. Please stay tuned to capitalweathergang.com. That's our blog 24/7. We're there when you need us. And this is our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. I'm Camden Walker for capitalweathergang.com. Checking your comments on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook. I appreciate seeing all of you. Este Kaba, Bush, and AJ, and JS, and Charlene. I hope your seedlings do well for a few hours each day with the warmth. That should be good for them. I think that's what you're saying. I agree. Air quality so far, Rodney, has looked okay from what I've seen. I haven't done a deep dive, but luckily, uh, dew points are, while annoying and becoming unpleasant, so far I don't see an issue with air quality yet this week, but worth watching. Luckily, the air doesn't look to be too stagnant in that classic form in the middle part of the summer. So that's great. Kristen, we are indeed trying to get our 90-degree counter, 90-degree or hotter days, the number of days that we see 90 degrees or hotter. We're trying to get that counter on capitalweathergang.com for you, since we might see our first 90-degree day tomorrow of the season. It's crazy that it's here. Max says 90s too soon. I kind of agree with you there on X. Thanks for tuning in. And hello, Steve and Culpepper. Yep, 70s hopefully return, more seasonably warm weather returns by the end of this week into this weekend. And Carol, thanks so much for tuning in on Facebook. And gardeners, Patty, let's focus on that. Let me show you rain amounts. A quarter to maybe a half inch, locally heavier amounts in some of these thunderstorms we could see on Tuesday and Wednesday. So there is a little bit of good news for you. But if you are looking for what becomes harder to find this time of year, kind of a shield of gentle, steady, moderate rain, we're getting into the warm season, so we're going to see more patchy formation to our precipitation pattern this time of year. So I think gardeners will have to water in some locations, and I want to show you, while we're not anywhere near a drought concern, the yellow shading there in North Carolina above me here, that indicates some abnormally dry conditions, not in our region, directly in the DC area just yet, but I have tried to find out the concerns with farmers and gardeners recently speaking up that they have some watering concerns. So I found in the last 30 days here, there's a half inch to almost 2.5 inches of rainfall deficit. We're below what we should have seen in the last 30 days. So there's a recent, dry slant to what the atmosphere is providing. And yes, evapotranspiration picks up with the growing season kind of with more roots, more active activity in the topsoil. We are getting a drier topsoil, but if you can water just a little bit, I still think we're in decent shape for the medium and long term. So I hope that is some solace. We're not anywhere near drought conditions just yet, but I know we're trying to get some of those, some of those outdoor plants going now that at least half the region experienced maybe the last frost and freeze behind us. What, fingers crossed, looks like so far with this heat right now. That's the last thing on our mind is a frost and a freeze. Jim, we are looking at the hurricane data. I think we've reported on that this week at capitalweathergang.com. I think closer to June 1st, we might take a stab at our own tropical Atlantic outlook as well. All right, so that was a great question there on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, KL, KT, Shelby, Wild, Julie, McNamara. Really good seeing all of you. Oh, and ETLB on Instagram. And we've got Carol, Enjoy Myrtle Beach, and Laura on YouTube. Appreciate seeing you. Pollen update for you. Here we go. Pollen is still high with trees, low medium with grasses. That's what's fun. But to combine the allergens for us, the fellow allergy sufferers. But pollen peaks for trees should be behind us, should be in the rearview mirror. Well, fingers crossed, right? But typically, we're kind of matching up to what the bar graph on the very bottom there in the kind of aquamarine color. That's the average peak time, kind of late April. So we might be there, and it might be behind us. Our highest readings for trees might be behind us. Though, of course, do I have some skepticism? We don't see a quick pop this week with low 90s possible tomorrow. That unfortunately is possible. So hang in there, allergy sufferers. Let's focus on this cold front and some thunderstorms associated with it Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Hopefully, can rinse out the atmosphere just a little bit. Now, speaking of thunderstorms, Tuesday, Wednesday, a slight chance, 5 to 15% chance. Maybe we see a couple storms with some high wind gusts, a couple storms with some hail. We'll keep you posted. No widespread high chance for severe weather, but a few storms could be intense as this cold front on Tuesday and into Wednesday does kind of move into very juicy warm air in our region. Animation here below showing low 90s to start the week, maybe still 90 on Tuesday. And that's after, 90s are potential first 90-degree reading of the season. But once we get this cold front through Wednesday, hopefully we start really getting more towards seasonable warmth at the end of the week, end of the weekend. And I don't have really high confidence about the weekend forecast. I'm seeing some evidence of cooler air, maybe cooling us down, toward the low 70s, potentially with some showers and clouds. Now that's great for gardeners and farmers, I know. But outdoor plans, we'll see. Stay tuned to capitalweathergang.com as we get closer. I'm Camden Walker for capitalweathergang.com. This is our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat live Q&A. Thanks for tuning in on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'm taking all of your questions and comments on the air another 7 minutes or so. And the animation below is temperatures for the next 6 days or so through Saturday, kind of showing the trend of early week warmth. It could be record challenging warmth. I think our record high temperature at DCA Airport is 91 for Monday and Tuesday. So we could set one, maybe two records. We'll see. And then cold front moves through, hopefully, Tuesday and Wednesday, giving us some rain, some thunderstorms, a few of which may be intense. We'll see. Thursday, Friday, hopefully we get a little bit of cooler, less warm air with high pressure trying to reassert itself in the region. And then the weekend is a little bit up in the air with potential for some clouds and showers and maybe even less warm air as we get closer. We'll keep you posted, of course. And let me make sure I've caught up on my Instagram comments. Really good seeing all of you tuning in. And it looks like Raptor and Flyers and Dawn have tuned in. Thanks so much. And Michael, too hot, too early. I agree with you there on Facebook. And Dawn, a good thunderstorm is possible. We could see a couple intense storms maybe Tuesday into Wednesday. Not a widespread severe weather threat by any means, but we're watching it for you. Andrew, you're getting married. Congratulations on. Thanks for tuning in from X. But on Saturday, there's still plenty of room, I would say, for changes, but currently leans cloudier and kind of cooler 70s. And even the National Weather Service thinks it could be 60s, but low confidence. I've seen a widespread in the data coming in for this weekend so far. So still time for things to change, Andrew. Have a plan B maybe in the back of your mind, but do not take action yet until the confidence in the forecast at least gets toward medium high as we get closer to this weekend. All right, we've got Patty. Hopefully, yes, we can get you some rain. Thanks for tuning in from Facebook. And Lewis, I did see some of the soils in South Carolina. They do have the cicadas emerging down there. I think we're still waiting for May, so maybe give it another week or so. If you head toward the Chesapeake Bay and the Tidewater, we should see, I think, some noises start with the cicadas. Let's see if I can find that for you. Maybe I think generally mid to late May is when they typically peak and could last into perhaps early June. But just note the region is a little bit different than previous broods. Over toward the kind of Chesapeake Bay, Tidewater, Virginia region, mainly away from the 95 corridor and Baltimore, Washington area as well. All right, let me review with you the PM update there at the top. That's my PM update at capitalweathergang.com. Forecast at a glance just above me, the blog here anytime you need us 24/7. We're at capitalweathergang.com. I'm Camden Walker, doing our weekly Sunday Sunset Live chat as we do almost every week of the year. Forecast animation of temperatures for the next 6 days below, showing you low 90s, record challenging heat early week. We might see our first 90-degree. No, it looks like a decent chance of seeing tomorrow our first 90-degree reading of the year. Another chance to hit it on Tuesday if we somehow miss it tomorrow on Monday. Then some storms, a few could be intense with a cold front Tuesday into Wednesday. Hopefully, cooling this down a little bit at the end of the week with maybe a brief bit of sunshine and stable conditions with a little bit of high pressure building in. Then, do we turn a little bit stormier, cloudier this weekend? That remains to be seen. It currently is leaning that way, but as I was telling Andrew, who's getting married, low confidence so far leaves room for changes as we get closer. All right. Flyers, yes, we at WashingtonPost.com, Capital Weather Gang, we do have some of the recordings on Alexa. So I will make sure, if please let me know, an email weather at washpost.com if that is getting troublesome for you. I appreciate your feedback on that. Rachel and Ridge, thanks for tuning in on Instagram. And Sheila and Tall Glass and Story. Donna, good seeing you from Iowa. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we've got Rodney, you're most welcome. And Paul, appreciate seeing you. Mother's Day is coming up in, what is that, a couple weeks? Yep, that's great. So I will focus on that for the mothers. That's a good reminder. I will remind myself to think about Mother's Day next week when I see you for our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. Thank you, Paul. Michael, indeed, Nebraska is seeing a lot of tornado action. Unfortunately, I hope everyone is staying safe there if you have friends or family. And it is very intense there right now, indeed. Let me show you a quick glance at the dew point scale. I almost forgot to show you unpleasant conditions with the 60 to 65 degree dew points becoming unpleasant with our near record or record challenging heat early this week. So please be prepared. We're not acclimated to heat and humidity as we go into the warm season. It is still April. So what will feel good in August in a 60 to 65 degree dew point range, we're not used to that right now in April. So it's going to feel a little humid at times on top of near 90, maybe low 90s Monday and Tuesday. So precipitation and clouds. Precipitation above animated and clouds below. Pretty sunny week. Please use that sunscreen when you can. We have pretty good chances for seeing UV ultraviolet rays for most of this week, as we are now getting into easily, I think, a mid-August, if not early August sun strength level. So keep that in mind. Precipitation is kind of hit or miss, right? We're focused on some storms Tuesday and Wednesday as a cold front moves in from the west and west northwest toward our region. So it will be hit or miss. A few could have some strong wind gusts and maybe some hail, but so far not a widespread severe risk as it looks now. Stay tuned though to capitalweathergang.com as we get closer. And overall, it is hit or miss rain, right? We could, unfortunately for gardeners and farmers, we're getting into that warm season pattern of hit or miss patchy rainfall. So a quarter to a half inch is generally what is expected over the next 7 days. By the time you talk to me next Sunday for a weekly Sunday Sunset Chat, it's it's hard to get these shields of steady rain this time of year with more organized low pressure systems. So locally, we could see an inch of rain. And if you're lucky to have a downpour over you, that's a quick thunderstorm. Tuesday or Wednesday is the main idea with that cold front moving through. You could see a quick 3/4 to an inch of rain. But the average throughout the region, for better or worse, is a quarter to a half inch over the next 7 days as it looks now. We'll keep you posted. But the good news is, and here's the very good news, there is no drought to speak of, not even abnormally dry conditions. Those are still in North Carolina. It's not even a drought technically there. And yes, though, I will acknowledge to my gardening and farming friends over the last 30 days, we have had a shortfall, a change in the pattern. Some drier topsoils are probably you're finding in your experience, and watering needs are going up with time. And again, I mentioned the sun is that strong August strength sun this time of year. Looking ahead, temperatures at top and precipitation at the bottom, leaning above average for temperatures next work week. And unfortunately, precipitation doesn't have a clear signal, not even leaning above average for us next work week. So we'll keep watching that for you. And allergy sufferers, before I sign off, I just want you to let you know tree pollen could still be high this week, mixing in with a little bit of grass pollen. But there's a chance there that we are seeing in the rearview mirror the peak tree pollen levels of the year. So keep the faith, even with the heat this week that could blossom a little, another pollen plume this week. We hopefully can feel better further and further into this month as tree pollen begins to wane, typically of this time of year. And then again, just a small chance that some of the storms Tuesday, Wednesday could be strong to severe. We'll keep you posted. It's not a big chance, but we've seen this weak, persistent signal over the last several days at Capital Weather Gang that we could see, some wind gusts and some hail, perhaps. We'll keep you posted, though. No reason to be alarmed, but just keep that in the back of your mind. Some of these storms could be a little bit severe with the cold front Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, here we are, signing off, and I'll see you next week. We could have two 90-degree days this week, Ruth Lisa. It's crazy. The first one and second one of the year could happen back to back. A little bit of humidity is possible. And why, Ashley, thanks for joining from Instagram. And Doer and Intuitive, I appreciate seeing you on Instagram as well. I'm on Facebook and on YouTube and X, and I'll see you next Sunday for a weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. And I hope everyone has a good and safe week. Stay cool. Take it a little bit easy. We're not used to this little bit of humidity, along with near record heat and potentially record breaking heat early this week. So do take it easy, and I'll see you next Sunday. And bye for now.